I just wanted to let you guys know that this video is proudly inspired by DanSg08, a YouTuber that I've been growing to really love on YouTube. I've been watching him for a few years now. He also just recently made a documentary called Gaming Through New Eyes. I strongly suggest you guys check it out. It's a very interesting documentary on how video games can affect blind gamers and how blind gamers can play video games. It's very, very riveting, and it also won an award. He also has an IMDb page, which will also be in the description below for this video. But this video is going to be my top 10 things I love about Final Fantasy X, and this is just to base off of a video that he made about a month ago, and I just wanted to expand on that, just to show my appreciation for this game as well. The first thing I wanted to mention on this list is the amazing story behind Final Fantasy X. I can come back to this game 100 times over and still be enthralled by what's happening on screen with the characters. There are a few parts of the game that are much slower than others, but they're mostly well placed into the story. One of the only boring parts that I can really think of is some of the stuff that happens in Luca during like the first few hours of being into the game, but that's easily replaced by a ton of action-packed cutscenes and boss fights later on the road. Speaking of story, what creates a good story? The answer? Good characters do. Final Fantasy X has plenty of interesting characters that each have loads of backstory and reasoning behind their personalities. Once you begin to read and hear more dialogue throughout the story, you can start putting together a gigantic puzzle of the world of Spirit and the people inhabiting it. It's pretty amazing. So thirdly on the list, I wanted to talk about the combat system in Final Fantasy X. It's fantastic. And it's loved by many people who have played the game. It has that classic Final Fantasy feel of turn-by-turn combat, but it gives you an unlimited amount of time to plan your attacks, which I really, really enjoy. It's easily why Final Fantasy X is the best combat system in my opinion. You're able to calculate your moves without having to rush into something before the boss sweeps your entire party, which honestly would have added a bigger difficulty curve to Final Fantasy X, but I'm actually glad that they didn't do that, because it allows you to have more playtime strategies and just enjoy the game a lot more. So the fourth thing I wanted to mention on this list is the sphere grid. It's a very unique and awesome idea that innovated heavily on the Final Fantasy games. I know they do something similar in Final Fantasy XIII, but I don't like to mention that game very much. It's amazing how much you can actually strategize each and every one of your characters with a moveset that you like and can play with. It adds an extra layer to originality and creativity, making almost every playthrough of my experience in every game an original one. The fifth item on this list involves boss fights. I really love how each set of bosses in this game has its own set of strategies to beat, but also you can vary up on how you destroy them. Like, for example, with the Yunalesca fight and the third form, she inflicts mega death immediately, and then like every 4 turns or something like that. I don't know the specific number. But when she inflicts that, your entire party can be killed off immediately if you don't have a zombie status equipped, which makes for some pretty rage-inducing, but eventually rewarding gameplay once you actually figure out the combos and the strategies to beat the bosses. Now that we're done talking about story and gameplay, I have to admit that this game has the best soundtrack I've ever seen in a video game, in my personal opinion. In DanSg08's documentary, a blind man named Toby is able to determine what zone he's in Final Fantasy X without being able to see. It's truly amazing what can be accomplished based on music alone. My favorites, personally, are the boss theme and battle theme, but I do enjoy the Xanarkin music and Seymour music as well. And there are plenty of other amazing songs in this amazing soundtrack. I strongly suggest looking it up and just listen to it. I recommend the extended versions because you cannot just hear 2 minutes of a song in this genre and be done with it. Number 7 on my list of my favorite things from Final Fantasy X is the bonus content of this game. When the Western version originally launched on PS2, we weren't given the luxury of going through and fighting the Dark Aeons and like the extra bosses and the cutscenes. We weren't able to receive a lot of the same stuff that you guys did for the international version, which is what the original one was called, but then it got ported to Western culture, and then like it was kind of like dumbed down almost in a weird way, and I really hated how they did that. But at the same time, I can understand it to some degree. But thank goodness, Westerners are now able to experience it without having to emulate it, which is actually what I did originally on PS2 to play the international version, is through emulation, and then when the HD remaster, it was basically the international version ported over to Western culture, and then obviously in HD. So number 8 on my list is going to be challenges, and this isn't necessarily bred by the developers of the game, but this is more so bred by and created from the community within Final Fantasy. and that is the Sphere Grid Challenge. This is like an amazing thing. I don't think I could ever do it, but I also really want to try it. Maybe I'll do it for a series sometime in the future. But essentially, or basically, you're just supposed to go through the game without altering your sphere grid and like leveling your characters up, which can obviously be challenging for more reasons than one. Which is incredible that, in fact, DanSg08, the guy that I'm inspiring this video by, or that I'm inspired to make this video by, excuse me, he actually did that, and he was one of the first guys, if not the first guy, I'm not entirely sure, to beat Dark Anima with the Sphere Grid challenge. So I strongly suggest checking that out. It'll probably be in the description below too. There's just gonna be so much content from him in the description of this video. Just get prepared for it. It's gonna be an overload of videos. So number 9 in this list is going to be plot twists. And when I say plot twists, I'm not going to spoil anything from the base game at all for you guys that haven't watched it or played the game for yourselves. But just know, if you haven't played through this game, there are many moments throughout this game where there are sudden bombshells dropped on you as the player that will completely turn the narrative upside down on its head, which is one of the many reasons that I love storytelling to this day. Like, I've been trying to write a novel, and like one of the first games I played through was Final Fantasy X, and it like showed me pretty much like the elements of plot twists, which is really cool how it kind of affected me in that way. But there are a few pretty hefty and heavy-weighted bombshells that people drop in this game, or they'll just like sudden realization for the protagonist, which is it's amazing, and I strongly suggest you check it out if you're interested in some pretty cool like plot twist elements in stories. So my 10th and final reason why I love Final Fantasy X so much is that it's open world-ish. So basically, you aren't able to access the airship until like probably 2/3 of the way through the game, which is unfortunate, but at the same time, it's nice because it's kind of, from what I've heard from Final Fantasy 15, it's the same way, where it's open world for most of the game, and then towards the end, it's linear. It's like they pulled a reverse Final Fantasy X. Like in 10, the first like chunk of the game is very linear, which isn't a bad thing. Sometimes linear, yes, can be very restricting and very bad, but in the case of Final Fantasy X, I think they do it masterfully because it doesn't feel like you're actually restricted. It feels like you're actually going on an adventure with these characters and like actually following the narrative of the story, whereas other games kind of fail massively at that linear aspect. That's why I really didn't like 13 so much, but that's besides the point. I'm not trying to like hate on that game so much because I don't want to just like offend a bunch of people that possibly like the game. But yeah, it's open world after you get the airship, and then you're able to go back, and this kind of ties in with the bonus content. Where you're able to go fight other bosses, obtain other items, like power up your characters in ways you didn't even know were possible. And that's all thanks to the help of the HD remaster, basically opening up the international port basically for us here in the Western civilization. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, strong inspiration from DanSg08 in this video. Strongly suggest checking out his documentary. It'll be in the description below, as well as a bunch of his other videos that I've been inspired by and that I think are just really awesome. And if anything, if you've learned anything from this video, go subscribe to him if you want to take away anything from this video, because honestly, he's one of the best YouTubers I've ever seen in terms of commentary, and just like a lot of people don't like Final Fantasy X, and him and I are like some of the guys that like actually like this thing a lot, and that we've played, like he's played it since he was a kid, and I've played it since I was a kid. But there are other people that don't like this game as much, which is understandable, and that's why the medium of video games and movies and TV and all that stuff is so awesome, because people can have differing opinions. Like for me, I have 10 reasons why I love Final Fantasy X. Some other person on the internet could upload a video saying 10 reasons why they hate Final Fantasy X. It's completely up to interpretation. But I'm TenneyBox. Thank you so much for watching. Keep calm and trust your instincts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like rating. It helps me out a ton. And yeah, we're almost to 600 subs on the channel. Those are subscribers, not like subs. Like the sandwich. Oh no, I need help. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Peace.